what I say is only what you are inwardly inclining towards. A sort of reflection of a deeper you. The indivisibility of the deeper me and the deeper you. In one way, individuality is an illusion. In another way, individuality must be fostered. We must grow as individuals. And here is a paradox. There are many paradoxes. You cannot discuss the things of the spirit in a manner that confines spirit to a rational operation. Here is a paradox then, one of many. As we grow as individuals, so we unite in our deeper oneness. As every man and woman finds his own light, so that light unites. With its own substance in others. So that our individuality then becomes to each other a precious complement. And at the same time, an affirmation of our oneness. There is a subtlety. We must not, may I suggest, let a crude determinism affect the growth of our deeper unity. And yet it is utterly vital that our individuality is allowed to function and foster its complementary, indispensable aspect. In a way, tonight we can talk about the fall. But in another way, we are ripe for ascent. And maybe we should dwell a little on an extraordinary phenomenon. The interrelationship, the interdependence of what may be called the old and what may be called the new. We must ever find the new. We must ever be the new. We must ever know renewal. A rebirth must occur in every nuance, every impact of our experience. The discovery of the new, the birth of the new, the unfolding of the new must be a fact of our growing and our knowing. Let us feel through this a little. Some 5 to 6 centuries before Christ, a strange development occurred on this earth. There was in ancient Athens a shattering explosion of human power and ingenuity. And one characteristic of that proliferation of glorious growth was a new thing in human affairs. A word arose called democracy. Average humanity, everyday humanity, normal humanity began to think in a new way that every man had a right to know. Every man had a right to speak. Every man had a right to share. And that the state, the corporate entity of men, should be malleable and yielding to the needs, the claims of ordinary human beings, not extraordinary human beings, not special people. And at about the same time as Socrates, who incidentally made a case against democracy, but we won't go into that. At about the same time as Socrates, there arose in the East a being of supreme genius, spiritual genius, the perfect man. There manifested Gautama Buddha. And this phenomenon in ancient Athens was the new. And this phenomenon in ancient India was the new. And what did Lord Buddha say? He advanced upon the entrenched Brahmin priestly caste who controlled the minds of the masses. The greatest being of the age, rose up and said, truth is for all men. He rejected the Brahmins. He rejected the caste system. He rejected the encrusted customs of the day, not least that which enshrined man as superior to woman. He rejected the machinations of metaphysics and the manipulations of the gurus, and said, all men have a right to truth. All men have a capacity for truth. All men have a need for truth. Don't waste time on irrelevancies which are bondage. Approach the truth direct. Diligently work out your salvation. And whatever truth there may be, you will come to. And be ye lamps unto yourselves. This was the new. Centuries before Jesus, this was the new. The new is still with us. And let us realize this. It is only the old that gives birth to the new. It is only the flowering of the old that initiates the new. If there is a conflict, there is also a harmony. Because the one is the concomitant of the other. The great rishis of the Upanishads, the great seers of ancient India, yielded up Lord Buddha. So you can see the dual nature of the manifestation. The negative and the positive aspects of the phenomenon. Now there is another thought. The stress of the old way of the old yoga is ascent from the earth. The stress of the new way is embracing the earth. Everything is beset with paradox because the old way also includes and embraces the new. And the new way also includes and embraces the old. It is the unity of cyclic growth. Consider this. In our time, the 19th century, that is. The great sage Ramakrishna, who died in 1886, the supreme mystic of his age, was the flowering of the old. Still the old was with us. Still the old was yielding up its treasures. Still the old was initiating, giving birth to the new. An archetypal pattern. And out of Sri Ramakrishna came the new man, Vivekananda. A man who heralded the spiritual meeting of East and West. A tremendous being. Ramakrishna never left the area in which he was born in all his life. Uneducated, knowing only things Indian, but out of him, and in allegiance to him, being sent forth from him, came the great prophet figure, Vivekananda. What a giant. He straddled the earth. He was a man in a sense of no race and no religion. He was a man of truth. A man of the time and therefore before the time. Spiritually, the old yields up the future. It is a unity. "2,000 years ago, a tremendous figure appeared in a small Middle Eastern country. His name was John. He was the greatest man of his time. He was the flowering of the old. And he initiated, in a sense, gave spiritual birth to the avatar, the God-man. What an incredible phenomenon that must have been. In that little country, how many? 700,000 population, perhaps? You know, friends, as we have discussed once or twice in different contexts, a flowering of human genius is always a collective thing. If there is a great artist, there are many artists. If there is a great musician, there are many musicians. A great poet, there are many poets. Shakespeare towers over his time. But if one could set aside Shakespeare, what a cluster of names were contributing to human civilization in Tudor times, to literary revelation. The poets of the English Romantic Revival, any one of whom today would be a glory. They came together. Great painters, great composers of many periods have come as a collective manifestation, and the same is true of the things of the Spirit. It was not just John, and it was not just Jesus. In that little nation, there was an abundance of spiritual flowering. Many disciples. Many, if one uses this word I don't like to use, don't like it much. Initiates. So in that little nation, there was this cluster of initiates, and these two tremendous figures. What must have happened psychologically as that little nation was compressed between these great beings? A meeting, a yielding, a flowering, and a growth. Such meetings are always, surely, occurrences that arrive from human need, from more than human need, from the need of the earth to unfold itself, to proliferate, to manifest its fuller greatness. The need of the earth to reach up to her Lord the Sun. The need of the Sun to embrace the great earth. Not a tranquilizing event, friends. A tornado of the Spirit. I come not to bring peace, but a sword. Challenge. Inescapable. The spiritual giants come not to compel, but to invoke. And how do they invoke? They invoke by confrontation. They salute the divine within us. The divine in them affirms and links with the divine in us, and our superficial nature is shaken profoundly. But we do the shaking. It is ourselves who are shocked by the recognition of ourselves. The man of the Spirit is merely a mirror. And yet, more than that, a fulfiller of the essential priesthood of man, whose function is to invoke. And essentially, the invocation is an act of salutation, an acknowledgement that I know you, because that which is you is also me. We are one. A strange paradox, friends. Because as our individuality fulfills itself, aspires to its higher nature, we do not grow apart, we grow together. And the voice of John and Jesus to their time was only the outer echo of the inner voice of the united spirit of the world. But the surface consciousness was shocked into a recognition. They heard the word. And the word was indivisible from the light. If they could not stand the sight of the light, they fled or sought to extinguish the light. The light they were fleeing from was their own deeper being. That inwardly was descending upon themselves. And because the inner reality and the outer reality are not separate, their outer eyes are compelled to know the advance of God in man. But again, if you'll allow me, this matter of the inner and the outer, the old and the new, what do we find? Just take these two beings, John and Jesus. They were cousins. They probably had a family resemblance. There is one passage somewhere in the Gospels, Jesus says to his disciples, "Whom say men that I am?" And one of the replies is, "Some say you are John come again." He probably looks like John. The same spirit moved in them. Manifesting in harmonious polarity. This great man, John. There is various circumstantial evidence that he was connected with, at least, the Jewish initiates known as Essenes. So too with Jesus. But we won't go into that. Out of a common land and a common lineage, a common culture, these two strangely similar yet strangely contrasting human beings, and more than human beings. John was a man of the desert. He sought the lonely places. He dressed roughly. He was ascetic in the extreme. He turned aside from the crudities of the world. He expressed aloneness, solitude, and in a way, a denial of the earth. His was the way of ascent. He was the flowering of the old way. True and necessary to its time. This man Jesus was not one who turned away from the errors of men. He had some very strange friends. Bibbers of wine, prostitutes. He walked among all manner and kinds of men. And it's surely implicit, is it not, in our reading of the Gospels, a shock of the ruling priesthood at seeing this prophet figure apparently at home with the lowliest, most unacceptable sort of people. In fact, the only ones he seemed to condemn were the very righteous keepers of the law. What an oddity. drank wine. Quite possibly ate meat. I would, or at least fish. I would just mention in passing here, friends, that it is alleged by some that when John lived in the desert and ate locusts and wild honey, as the text says, he was eating the locust bean, and not those awful little insects. The Essenes were vegetarian. This John the Baptist, tremendous figure, was the flowering of the old way, the glory of the old way. Jesus mixed with all sorts of odd ones. Didn't want to know about the spiritual boss men any more than Lord Buddha did. Spiritually, and perhaps more than spiritually, more than figuratively, he came from the sun to embrace the earth, that the earth may yield greater abundance and glory. He went deep into the earth. He was born in a cave. His crucified body was placed in a cavern. He descended into the deeper earth. The momentum of his victorious death carried his power deep into the earth. His seed, his light, was left in the depths of the earth. And from it, through it, by it, the earth is only just beginning to bring forth a new age. The way of Jesus that embraces the earth is not the right way, as distinct from the way of John, who negates the earth to find the light. The way of Ramakrishna, whose extraordinary sensitivity was such that the touch of a coin, with all its vicious vibrations, would be physically painful. From the great Ramakrishna came the man of the future, Vivekananda, who strode the earth, embraced and accepted all races and kinds of men. Who was a man among men, and a spirit among spirits. And this is surely, are we not feeling this life movement? This is surely the embodiment, the epitome higher lights into the earth, which is divine, and the earth light to the sun, which is divine. It is the one light, the one divine light, the one divine motion, the Ida and Pingala, the cosmic process, inherent in human beings, inherent in all things, but only finding its full flowering in man. Man, the spearhead of evolution, in whom alone the light unites with itself. The confluence of the incarnating light and the rising light meet in the heart of man. The great teachers come not to teach, but to awaken. They awaken by invocation. They salute the light within us. And if they do that, we are forced to stir. But it is our own stirring. It is our own light that reaches out and salutes its kin. More than that, dare we say it is our own light made visible to our physical eye and our essential challenge, surely, friends, in all this process, there is still the commingling, the intercalation of the new with the old. There is always the old and the new turning upon itself, so that the old that was the old becomes the new, and the new that was the new becomes the old. Are you with me? The cycle of life. Are you with me? Just a little. It's an inner movement, friends. Our earthly embrace is fruitless and pointless without the counterpoise of our ascending light. Our ascending light is unfruitful without the counterpoise of the incarnating power. We must aspire and embrace. Surely the message of the last avatar, to aspire and embrace. There is, don't we feel it? Don't we know it? Something of tremendous import alive in our time. When an avatar comes, he drives into the earth and awakens the world dragon, the world Kundalini, in its anti-clockwise spiraling motion. There are tremendously destructive forces abroad in our time. The earth is laboring to give birth to a new way, the new man. It is our challenge, our yoga, to discern, to feel, to move with the light. The light is seeking us out. We need to feel and grow to the light. When it comes, born anew in every moment. When it comes, let our door be open. Let our heart be ready. Let our eyes yield recognition. Whatever happens in our time, the release of the light among us now, silently, hidden, building up. A prodigious hidden power. The release of that light is imminent. And access to that light is our birthright, because life has yielded us up to know the dawning of the new man. And our responsibility is to allow that light to be with us, in us, to be ourselves, to be. And there is little point in reflecting overmuch on the past, or in projecting our illusions and delusions to the future. Only one thing is relevant: that we be here now, and allow the now to speak to us. And thus may we discover our